What's going on, everybody? Critic and the Common Man here. Up today, a review of... Chris, this entire podcast is just a... We've had a great friendship, Christopher. But some shit's gonna go down in about 30 minutes.
Well, you've had a good
just
friendship.
Get out of there.
But
right.
From my point of view, I've already had it. And like this is where it ends for me. But for you, it's just really the beginning of it, so...
Wow. How'd it go? Was it beautiful?
We got up to some stuff.
Yeah, nice. What's going on, everybody? Up today, a review, the long-awaited review of Tenet. We finally got around to seeing this. It came out on, what was it, Amazon Prime, I think, that we finally were able to rent it and give it a watch. Yeah, I believe that's where I watched it.
I bought it off of Pornhub. I'm not sure it was the right version.
It was on there for free.
Yeah.
I had to watch it. I had to watch it on somebody's from Saudi Arabia's Instagram story. I watched it 10 seconds at a time for took a long time. Thank you.
They asked for my social security number.
Piracy is not a victimless crime, Christopher. It is not a victimless crime. Guys, if you have not seen Tenet, go ahead and click away from this. This is your spoiler warning. We are going to do a full review of this, spoilers included. Click off of this, go give it a watch, then come back and let us know what you think. So, Chris, we had heard a lot of things about this. Mixed reviews, mostly negative, some positive. Finally, we got around to watching it ourselves, and now we've seen it, finally. Tenet, initial impressions. Did you like this movie? Did you hate this movie? What do you think?
So initial impressions. The first thing that I realized was true was the goddamn audio. Like, the music was so loud, I had to keep turning it down, and then when the music would stop, I couldn't hear anything they were saying. I'd have to, turn it back up.
You couldn't hear a fucking thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had closed captioning on the entire time, and there was not a shot we were turning that off.
Yeah.
That qualm is true. As you guys all know, if you're watching this review, I'm sure you've seen Tenet. Definitely some audio issues going on there, which seems crazy to me. How could there be audio issues on such a big production like that?
That seems amateurish to me. It really does.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed.
That is my crotch bud. Listen.
Yeah,
listen, we are...
That is not a chew toy.
You are so cute. I'm holding his head and he's just started smiling. He's just like...
Oh, yeah. He's a little ball of love,
Stop.
Man. A little ball of love.
Stop.
Yeah, that did seem a little bit amateurish to me, and it's... For such a big movie, for such a big director, for such a big studio that comes out with this, to have those kind of simpleton issues seems a little bit strange.
He has made enough movies to where this shouldn't be an issue.
You would think. Yeah, you would think whoever he's got in charge of this stuff would have figured this out by now. But, I mean, story-wise, what did you think of this one? Because there's a lot going on in this, and you know there's going to be a lot going on in this, being a Christopher Nolan film. This had already been kind of related to Tenet when we were coming in. I'm sorry, not Tenet. Inception. Tenet had already been kind of related to Inception coming into this, so we knew we were going to get a little bit of a mind bender.
Right, weirdo.
What did you think of the story itself?
So, okay. The story, the premise of this, time travel war, dope. That sounds so cool to me. I'm totally down for it. That sounds like something you would pick up in, any sci-fi book, to just have the people from the future wanting the planet for themselves, and so they're trying to take out the people in the past so that they can have it because they destroyed it. Cool. Makes sense. Kind of fucked up, whatever. The only thing, to me, the whole backwards gimmick got really old so fast. That
It got so confusing,
convoluted, dude. Just convoluted.
Oh, it got so convoluted.
That
team is going to be counting down, and we have to make sure that explosion doesn't happen. But that team doesn't know that, and they have to try to make this explosion happen, even though it's not.
Did you go into the machine? Did you see yourself going in? Because if you didn't go in, you're not coming back out. What the fuck does that mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like, oh, shit. Oh, man.
So,
yeah,
for me, the biggest thing is that... they have these bullets, right? That was the whole beginning premise thing where they're like, this bullet fires into the gun. You have to catch it instead. It does the same thing, though. It goes through somebody. So why even have a bullet that goes
the
back?
Reverse entropy.
Yeah, just shoot the person instead. You don't have to have this high-tech bullet that's impossible to find. And I don't really understand that, he was trying to pick up the bullet. And she's like, you had to have dropped it first. And he didn't drop it. And he still was I don't understand. I don't understand. And it was the pseudoscience just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, if you thought that Inception was a little bit hard to follow, good luck with Tenet. Good luck. I'm interested to see what you guys thought of this one. Leave a comment down below. Or if you're just listening, by the way, you missed that whole intro if you're just listening. Chris and I were like flipping around, doing a reverse pincer movement, whatever. But
I unpunched a hole
come
in
on
the wall.
over. Yeah. No, you unpunched the hole in the wall, just reversed it. We should spend the next year and a half synchronizing this review to where I do the whole thing in reverse and you do it in like normal time, and then we meet up in the middle.
Yep.
Oh my god. This thing was pretty mind melting for sure, and I tried to read a little bit, and I feel like this is a movie where you're gonna have to watch it 3-4 times before you really start understanding everything that's going on.
Yeah.
I liked the concept. I don't know if I would say it got old really fast. It's just that it's sort of the gimmick of them moving backwards and like people reverse flipping. Once you got past that, it just never really developed into anything more. So I guess, yeah, you're right. It did get old really
and not
fast.
just that,
it was kind of like
it doesn't make sense. Like you're like at the very end when you have like the two teams and like one of them is going backwards and the other one's not. The one that's going backwards serves no purpose there because they're not able to hit anything that's there to see them because they're moving backwards.
Yeah, it was really, really convoluted. I feel like Inception was much more of it was out there, but it was more plausible, whereas I feel like Tenet was really hard to pick up on.
Tenet built this world and kind of threw you into it and didn't really explain much.
Straight into the deep end.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you get this minor explanation from this woman, you know, the quartermaster woman who's helping him with his tech, and yeah, she's like, shoot the wall. Oh, it's already been shot, so you're just pulling the bullet back into the gun. You get like a 5-minute explanation of reverse entropy, and then they just throw you into the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Like, and the rest of this stuff, like, just figure it out.
And like the science doesn't make sense. The pseudoscience does not make sense. I think anybody would know that. Anybody who's like into like physics and stuff would know that they're like the explosion causing a freezing. That's not how thermodynamics works. Like I just don't understand.
Yeah.
So like and like that's fine. That's whatever. Like, you know, it's a sci-fi film. We can get past that. I really liked the main character. I thought he was dope. Like I liked the way like when we first see him like go to the restaurant and he's like
the protagonist.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which his name was Tenet, right?
Oh no, they just call him protagonist. Like literally, his name is just protagonist.
And yeah, he says that at the end, which I thought was super cheesy.
Yeah.
I'm the protagonist. I was like, you're calling yourself out on the writing. That's cool. No, like when you first see him, not the first, but when he goes to meet up with Michael Caine, he tells the host or whatever, he's like, I'll have the same. They're like, I'll send the waiter. He's like, just pass on the order. Like he's very confident, and I really liked that. I really liked that he knew what he was doing, and even when he was jumping into something he had no idea what he was going into, he still was like, you know what, I backwards, sure, let's do it. I can kick ass.
Let's figure it out. Yeah, like the bungee jumping and whatnot into the like reverse bungee jumping into the tower and everything. I gotta say, and I surprised myself with this because obviously any of you guys who watch Critic and the Common Man know that we're usually fairly pessimistic in these reviews, and we're pretty good at picking out the negatives. For all the negatives that I heard about this movie coming into it, I'm not going to say that I loved it or that it was my favorite movie, but I actually liked it a lot more than I expected to.
I
afterwards.
agree.
It was really hard to follow, and I did have to do some research to kind of keep up with what was going on. But all in all, I thought it was a pretty interesting plot and a fairly well done movie. I mean, there were obviously some things like the audio issues and the science being a little bit too much that, you know, you sort of just have to accept. You don't have to accept the audio issues. That's just an issue. But the story you kind of just have to accept for what it is.
Yeah, you're kind of along for the ride.
You have to be, because they literally just drag you behind the car if you're not. I mean, you're there whether you like it or not. I was good. I understood what was going on for the most part. I was good with everything until they got to the car chase scene where the random car was like coming in backwards and it was like already flipped.
Literally the same.
That started
for me.
to, yeah, that like pretty much from that moment on, it was like really hard for me to fully understand what I was watching.
Yeah.
And right when I felt like I was caught up, and okay, I get it. He went through the turnstile again, so now he's back in normal time. As soon as they did that, and then they brought the woman in and shot her in reverse time,
and then the two guys in the room.
Dude, I was like, I'm fucking lost. Yeah. Like, I am so lost.
And like the thing is, you could have the same premise and just have it be time travel, not backwards travel. And everything's solved. Nobody hates the movie. Everything's good.
Right.
Because, like, the idea of it is cool. I really liked the premise, and I liked the characters. I think the movie itself went on for, like, 30 to 60 minutes too long.
Oh, wow. 60 minutes too long. That's... How long was
it? Was 2.5 hours.
Oh, man. Yeah, that is pretty long.
It was 2.5 hours of a lot of confusion. Like, it was kind of infuriating in some parts, and I was I was just like, you don't need any of this in the film. Just take this part out, take this part out. Like, there was just, I feel like it's an action movie, though. I guess I was going to say, like, you don't need a lot of it, but, it's like saying a race car movie doesn't need the racing.
The extra 30 laps at the end of the race or whatever. Yeah, fair point. Let us know what you guys think down below if you agree, was this one a little too long or not. I couldn't help but think that everything that was going on, this reverse entropy, time travel, potential nuclear holocaust to kill everyone in the past so there's no future, that felt like a bigger thing. That plot felt bigger than these small groups of people that we saw kind of fighting over this. It felt bigger than this douchey Russian dude. I had his name written down. Sater, I believe his name was. It felt bigger than Sater and the protagonist and Kat and whoever. It felt bigger than all these people. It's like, this is for the fate of the world, and you've just got this kind of not that threatening Russian dude who's sort of friendly, sort of not. He's all threatening and I'm gonna cut your balls off and shove them in your throat, and it's a great way to watch someone die. But then, right, like then his don't tempt me with a good time. But then his wife unhooks this thing in the boat. He just seemed for such a badass, I'm gonna destroy the world kind of guy.
Oh yeah.
Remember they were sailing and she's like burning hell.
Also, what the hell were those?
Those, like, sailing catamarans?
What the hell was he doing?
Oh, that's some real rich people shit, dude. That's like, that's like some
I don't
real
understand that because they were like,
right
it was
there.
a boat, and then it was like a boat above water. I was like...
those are real. They're fucking crazy. In fact, there was just a viral video going around on, like, Instagram and Facebook of one of those things flipping over, going, like, full speed.
I guess I'm not rich enough to know what they are. Like, that was...
Yeah, I don't, like, you gotta be a multi-millionaire to even get invited to watch those fucking things. Like, the Instagram video will make you verify your income before it'll even show you the clip, dude. Like, that's some real old school, huh? Like, yeah. No, dude, those boats are like, I'm pretty sure those are seven figure boats.
That's a workout. Like if you get tired, you're
7
fucked.
or 8. They probably 8. Those are like 10, 20, 30 million dollar boats, I'm pretty sure. I think. I'm not some fucking
I was waiting for like a turbine to like
Dude, but that's the thing. I don't know what those things are called. Those those things that make you like sail over the water, but they've put them on surfboards and shit. This is it's a whole thing. Once you get to a certain income level, like once you get to a certain tax bracket, people just start approaching you with shit like that. They're like, "Oh, I see you moved into a 7-figure home. How'd you like to invest in a racing team that goes across the world and in a boat?" You're like, "What the fuck?" You're like, dude, no.
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
What else am I gonna do? I'm so bored.
But like the fact that he's so vulnerable to that, he seemed like he could have been taken out at any time. And yet he's this, I'm going to destroy the world.
And at the same time, not, though, because, like, he was prepared for certain things throughout the movie. Like, I don't know, like, he moved the painting. Things like, also, again, I don't know what the fuck the paintings had to do with, like, that could have been taken out. I feel like the whole painting thing should have been removed. That didn't make sense. It was just a way for them to get into the warehouse.
Yeah, but the painting thing was because they needed access to that turnstile.
Right, which was down below in the warehouse thing.
It was in that what do they call it? The like vault place, the like warehouse place where I forgot what that place was called. There's a term for it. The place where they are like middlemen or whatever, and they hold all your.
But like, they could have condensed the like first hour of stuff into like a 5-minute explanation, or like a montage, like the way that like Ocean's 11 does or something, where they like. This is where the art is held, and all of the art that hasn't been taxed yet gets moved into this place. This is just a middleman, and it looks like there's some technology. We need you to get in. Boom. But there was like an hour of exposition of like him like having to woo this woman at dinner, he had to find out from Michael Caine, who doesn't show up again in the film,
Just never again.
to like, hey, by the way, she's very rich. Her husband
he literally
does this,
goes
and
to
you're gonna
Michael
have to...
Caine just so that he can give him funding to buy a nicer suit. Like, that's
Literally,
all he did with it.
I don't it infuriated. That whole first hour, I was just like, you don't need any of this. Just get to the part where you drive the jumbo jet into the fucking wall. Like,
Yeah, it's funny that you say Ocean's 11 because the whole thing started to give off an Ocean's vibe when they were trying to get into that turnstile.
But not as good.
Turnstile? Whatever the word is.
I worked at the Magic Kingdom at the front. I'm just gonna let you know.
Yes.
It's
you've worked with many a turnstile.
Damn it, English is hard. The plural, more than one, plural.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought in my head I was like, I don't know. I thought it started with an S. The plural for turnstile is turnstex. Anyways, the joke is done because I forgot English for a moment. So
turnstex. Okay.
Turnstex.
Well, when they had to go and
that was
access
a lie,
the
by the way. That's not
turnstex
true.
down in the, I guess technically it was one turnstile, just in different times.
It's definitely not turnstex. I don't want you to go into a conversation in the future and be like, hey, so those turnstex.
They're like, that's not the word. I'm like, what? I've got a podcast host that begs to differ. Yeah. I don't know, man. I gotta say, yes, I agree that it was probably a little too long, and yes, it was a little bit mind melting to try to keep up with what was going on. But the acting was there, the characters were there.
Yes.
The story was. I didn't like the end where they were like at this war zone airsoft battle,
shooting at nothing.
Shooting at nothing, and bullets are like warping back through them and going through them the other way, and there's
like 40 people going backwards. Like, you serve no purpose on the battlefield right now.
I feel like they really, really wanted to play up that image of things moving in reverse, and that was they were really hanging their hat on that to get people off and say, oh man, like,
weird to me because I could shoot something and then reverse the footage, and it's the same gimmick. You know what I mean? Like, it's not something that takes millions of dollars to make, and yet they spent millions and tens of millions of dollars to make this film.
Oh, dude. And there's there's memes if you go to the Tenet subreddit and shit. There's just all these memes people have made of just people like fucking up, but they play it in reverse, like somebody falling and busting their ass, but they'll like play it in reverse, and then someone just like falling back, and they're like, "Oh, Tenet, deleted scene." Like, people are totally ripping them for that, man. But you're right. I mean, it was kind of a simple. It was like visually kind of a simple looking thing that they just literally were playing things in reverse.
Miranda
and that was it.
Brought this up, and I feel like there's some truth to it. She said that it would have been cool in the 80s. This would have been mind-blowing in the 80s, but like for us, I don't know, like the only stuff that's different is that the graphics were better. Right. That's it. Like back in the 80s, I feel like she's right. I think this would have been like a oh my god, this is, like sci-fi changing, movie. But and again, this is going back to that thing, all of the modern day directors are making movies that are just not for modern audiences anymore. They're no longer relevant. That's why you have younger movies or younger directors creating movies that people are they're becoming overnight hits. Like His House, things like that, where it's just, it's different, it's unique. But then you have all these action directors who have made their money because people go see their shit. And then, they get bored and they're like, well, this next movie, everything's going to move backwards.
Right. And the Hollywood suck-ups are like, oh, yes, Christopher Nolan,
like,
please.
Oh, fuck yeah, let's fucking do it.
Yeah. Jerk me off in reverse.
Now, again,
it's...
I did enjoy the movie. I thought it was cool. I kind of tuned out at a lot of the character stuff. Like, I didn't really care about the woman.
The Indian woman or cat? Which
either.
One?
Either of them.
Okay, fair enough.
Fair enough. They both kind of, like, the Indian woman felt, I don't know, kind of cliche with the way, like, she kind of felt like a Matrix character, like the Oracle or something. Like, she just felt like... Okay. Like this maternal power figure that serves no purpose other than to get the plot forward. I didn't feel like she was
kind of fucking useless. And then she shows up at the end. She shows up at the end of that car to try to assassinate Kat for whatever fucking reason. She's even after her anymore. I gotta and he's like there from the future, and she never even knows. I don't know. I don't know. And then it was okay. I mean, it was different enough, but I
Yes.
agree with you. You said it well. At first, I wasn't sure if I agreed, but you've kind of persuaded me now that we're talking about this. The reverse time thing got old pretty fast.
It just
And then
doesn't
what
make
you're left
plausible sense for like to get things done. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and it's not enough, man. It's not enough. Like there has to be something else, and them just kind of tripping you up with how things are happening in the story, and I hit it, but I told him where I hit it, so now he's going back to find it. He's going back in time to get
See,
something,
I
and then
didn't
he's
get
gonna
that part.
take it through a
Again,
turnstile
it's just so
again and have
convoluted.
it
I didn't
again,
follow it.
yeah, it was. It just became this thing where you're just holding on. I mean, I don't like movies where you have to watch them 4 times to figure out what the fuck is going on.
It doesn't make sense. That's not a good movie. If you have to,
Well, that's-
it's like, well, these pancakes are really good the third time you have them. Like,
Well, let's talk about that because that is that fair or not to say it if a movie needs to be watched more than once to understand it, is that a knock on the movie? That's kind of an interesting question because does it mean that they left out too much information and no one was able to understand it?
Because then you get into things like Donnie Darko, which definitely needs to be watched multiple times. But okay, here's the thing. I understand that like some movies you need to watch multiple times, but they need to be entertaining in order to do that. They need to be rewatchable, and this film is not rewatchable in my opinion because it loses its, again, the gimmick just kind of loses its like wow factor after a second. Like I don't understand how these people from the future are fighting, shooting at this army at the end, right? That's kind of coming there to like stop them from taking back their world. They see 40 people in a line moving backwards. They can't just mow those 40 people down. And then the whole team is just done. Like,
right, and if you know something's going to happen, can't you just go back in time and change it and then go forward in time? I mean, it's just, this opens itself up for so many loopholes. And again, I feel like when you're watching a movie like, first of all, whenever you deal with time travel, I feel like it's a really risky move to even bring that into movies because it starts to make things just fucking... like no one can really die and think this has already happened, and when Avengers started going into that time travel line in Endgame, it was like, okay, they're really tiptoeing here, but at least they were kind of like, no, we can't just go kill baby Thanos because then that'll just change that timeline.
That's a great part though. Can't we just go back in time and...
It is. Yeah, they're like, that's awful. But when you do time travel, I feel like you kind of get this thing where everything's already happened before, and nothing's unique, and people who die can come back, and no one's really gone, and it can get a little bit convoluted for sure.
But to answer your question, I think it's unfair to say that like no, a movie can't be good if you have to rewatch it. But I guess for this movie specifically, I don't want to rewatch it. Is the thing. Like I did enjoy it. It was action packed, and the special effects were great. The acting was great. The score was terrible. Like I don't like the music. It was like orchestral dubstep is what it was. Like I just don't really understand what was going on there. They could have hired any composer. Like the story, everything. There's a lot of things that are working for the film, and too many things that are working against it. That made it too long, too convoluted, too confusing. It just didn't work. Things just didn't work. And for those few things that were big things, in my opinion, I don't care to try and understand the story anymore.
Right. That's the problem. It got to a point where you were so lost, at least with movies like Inception. The story that was going on outside of the dream thing, even if you didn't quite understand the dream thing and whatnot, you still got the fact that, okay, they're trying to rescue this guy from a vault, blah, blah, blah. It's still action-packed and everything. But when you're doing the reversal pincer movement thing, it's like, okay, we're all trying to meet back up at the exact time that this dude drops a nuke like down into the earth and blows up something, or
and I don't understand how he ended up fighting himself. How did they travel back in time days?
I don't know. And it's like you end up having to read to try to figure out what just happened in this movie. But like you said, there's not quite enough there to really make you want to watch it again.
That's where I think the line gets drawn. If you have to do research to understand a movie, no, you shouldn't. It shouldn't be like Donnie Darko. You don't need to do research. You just need to watch it a few times to start understanding the underlying message. But when you have to go do research and try and understand laws of thermodynamics and time travel and entropy and all that stuff, just to understand that this movie doesn't make sense, no, it's bad. It's just the story doesn't make sense. It's convoluted. With that said, I still enjoyed it because it's different. And it's infuriating to me as a critic.
I really liked it right up until that awkward car handoff scene right before things got really wacky.
That's actually about the point where I went, all right.
Yeah, it was like, this is too much. This is a little too much for
Although
me.
that was cool though, him like jumping onto the fucking fire truck and like there's a lot of cool stuff. It's like future Mission Impossible stuff, and it's kind of cool. Like it's interesting to watch, but after a certain point, as a viewer, you're kind of like, okay, what's going on? Like, what
the hell
next?
is happening here? And this guy who's dying, I guess, of cancer or whatever. And then there's the thing with him and his wife, that was kind of like gag me too. With the main enemy guy, Sator. You know how he's always talking about his heart rate or whatever. He's like, oh, no one's gotten my heart rate over 150, even not.
I didn't know he was dying.
Yeah, they made a nod to it that he had some sort of like terminal cancer, I think.
Yeah, because they kept doing the blood pressure and stuff on him. I saw that. This is me doing blood pressure.
Yeah, exactly. So he was like racing against the clock for that too. But then his story with him and his wife, Kat, I believe, that was like, dude, gag me. Like, oh, if I can't have you, nobody can. It's like, then just fucking kill her, dude. If you're just gonna kill everybody anyway, then just kill her. Why are you hanging out? Why are you keeping this woman around just to torture her and make this weird story? Like, he would have just killed her, dude.
And you never see the kid.
Right, he's willing to nuke the entire world, but he's not willing to kill this woman who he doesn't even care about anymore. It's like, dude.
And so that's what I'm saying. The action, the acting, all of that is there. The premise is there. The characters are not. The characters
I think are somewhat there. I think they're somewhat there. I liked the protagonist. I like Neil, Robert Pattinson's character. I thought they were there. Yeah. And I didn't think that Kat's acting was bad at all.
No,
I thought she was there too.
But we don't care.
But I would say pretty much everybody else. Right. That's fair. That's
like,
fair.
I don't care really about most of like. It's kind of hard to like these two main guys when you know that these guys are like assassins, like you understand that like they're probably going to die one day. So like when like at the end, when, spoiler, when you find out that like he went backwards in time and he's actually the one that opened the door and is going to die doing it. I don't know if you caught that.
Yeah. Okay. Robert Pattinson's basically walking back in to die at the end there. Yep.
Like
he's like, who was it that undid that lock? He's like, you know anyone that could undo that lock? And he's like, nope, only you. It's like, it must have been me then. Here I go. And he like walks in to figure it out.
And like, it's cool. It's like, oh damn, that's sad. But again, I was like, okay.
They got some emotional response from me there at the end. It's just, I was still trying to it's like my ears were ringing from trying to my brain was working so hard to try to figure out what was going on.
It was like nosebleed.
I wasn't like emotionally available enough to even try to be sad for that because I was still trying to figure out what the fuck just happened.
Yeah.
And then they had this like weird looking tube thing that had all the different like codes or whatever in it. Like the codes were all these boxes. Yeah, and I was like, what the fuck is that thing again? Like I couldn't remember. And then they like split it up and one of them was like they were gonna kill each other, but then they decided not to. I was like, dude, this is what the fuck is happening?
Nobody who nobody who's seen this moment can leave the battlefield. No one who's seen this
thing can survive. I'm like, okay. I don't know, man. It got reviewed, or I should say, it was received
pretty well.
About as well. I would say about as well as I thought for being a Christopher Nolan bigger movie. Maybe a little better than I thought, but 70% critic score, 76% audience score. So people were okay with this one. I think a lot of people were hit and miss. Some people are gonna love it. Some people are gonna hate it. Some people are gonna pretend they loved it just to sound smart and act like they knew what was going on, even though they had no idea.
And that's just as infuriating to me. Where people are like, "This is a masterpiece. It is." Mind-bending science fiction.
Go ahead and explain. Go ahead and explain to me what happened then.
It is a unique take on the science fiction. Like, is it though?
Yeah.
It's unique. Right. Is it good? So, and here's the thing: when you read it,
with only using the word pincer one time. Go ahead. Please explain to me what happened in Tenet.
When you read the reviews, the audience seemed to like it, but critics did not. If you read the reviews of critics, most of the critics are like, "What like they're not destroying the film. It's not bad. They're just calling it kind of flat.
Fair
It's
enough.
just and that's kind of I think the word that sums everything up. It's just the whole movie is flat. There's not a lot of emotion there. It's a lot of action, a lot of explosions, a lot of that gimmicky stuff, but the character development isn't quite there. You don't really care. The main characters.
I heard that.
Did you?
I heard that from over. Yeah.
Jesus. There's a fire truck or fire station right there, but
Oh, gotcha.
yeah, I don't know. It's just the whole movie kind of for how big and epic they made it seem lost its appeal pretty quickly to me, and
Agreed.
I just wanted to get to the end so I could find out what was happening because it was just bothering me that I was so confused the entire time to the point where it was making me angry that I didn't understand because I tend to be the type of person who understands dense plots because I watch movies with subtitles and I'm like, oh, like I can understand Lord of the Rings, like damn it, like
Right.
I couldn't figure this out. I was like, what is happening? And it was frustrating. It was as a viewer, it's just frustrating trying to have to put your mind to a task when watching a film.
Yeah.
It's just it was difficult. But again, so what worked for me? The acting was good. The characters, not the characters, the actors that they chose, phenomenal. Phenomena. They, the special effects obviously were incredible as they're gonna be with any film that has this budget. Everything else just kind of felt typical blockbustery to me. It was just explosions and nothing about the cinematography kind of blew me away. The score I thought was terrible. I didn't really understand the appeal of like this, the siren, the burn, 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 like during car chases and stuff. I don't know. I think they were trying to be too hip at that with that, and they're like, oh well, these kids like dubstep.
Oh. These young whippersnappers and their electronic
They'll love it.
music.
Just replay this one note over and over, and we'll change it an octave for the next song. Yeah, out of the story was convoluted. It's just there's not enough working for it for me to say that I would watch the film again. 7 out of 10 is pretty close. I think I'm gonna go with the 6.5. I think the movie could have done better. I think it could have been more accessible to an audience if it wasn't trying to be so kind of almost like disgustingly unique in a sense. Like it felt like
really
Christopher
forcing
Nolan
that on
was
you.
yeah, like he was just like, look how amazing I am, like please worship me.
Yeah.
Because he makes good films, like he really does. But I
Sure.
think this one is just, I think it was a miss. I got
This was
6.5 for me.
Yeah, I think a 6.5 is pretty close. Yeah, I think I'm gonna come in on a 6 at this one. It was just too much, dude. It was too fucking much to try to keep up with. And there are movies that are a lot like, again, Inception, where you're kind of watching it again and figuring out what's going on. But just more enjoyable plots in those movies, like you said,
Yeah.
just showing things happening in reverse is not enough to make me want to
Yeah.
sit through a 2.5 hour movie. This one was kind of weird too, man. This movie was supposed to come out and it had big reviews, and this was like the first big movie to be released post COVID. Big blockbuster film. We were getting trailers for it and things.
Do you
and then
wish you'd
it was
seen this
supposed
in
to be
theaters?
No, not really.
Yeah.
I feel like I pretty much got the same effect. I'm kind of glad I watched it at home, if anything, because of the subtitles. We had closed captioning, which really helps, honestly.
Dude, I can't imagine having watched this in theaters with like the level of difference between the audio and the sound.
Yeah.
I don't.
Well, there's a reason there's a reason this was all over the news and like the movie pop culture world for having really messed up audio. People
You've heard of the
over and
movie
over and
pop
over
culture
were
world?
saying,
You're one of the
part of that?
chosen.
One of the few. There's a reason why people were complaining about that, man. The audio is messed up. Yeah, overall, I think a 6 from me. I'm not really in any rush to watch this again. May end up never watching it again, to be honest. I just kind of read about it and figure it out.
Unless you turn
But
it
that's
into a
it, dude.
drinking
6
game.
Yeah, 6.5 out of 10, and a 6 and a 10 from us. Again, this whole thing is basically a giant pincer move it, Chris. This is the start of a beautiful friendship for me.
The end of it for me, but yeah.
The end of it for you guys.
Ah.
So that's it, man. You got anything else for Tenet before we jump into our current event for today?
I don't.
All right.
Or
Well, let
maybe
us know
I
what
do
you guys think.
5 minutes from now.
Bullet flies through me the reverse direction. Let us know what you guys think in the comments down below. Were we too hard on this one? Did we miss the point? Are we just ignoramuses, as they say on the Cracker Barrel golf tee game? Chris, you don't know about that.
I have no idea what that is.
If you know,
you just
know.
said three different words. I have no idea what that means.
Oh, if you know, you know. Let us know, guys, what you think about that one. Good movie, great movie, horrible movie, the worst movie, kind of a hero of 2020, a big movie coming in out of nowhere. That's it. Leave a comment down below. Let's jump into our current event today, Chris, and I hate to even say it. Maybe I shouldn't even be bringing the attention to it, dude. We just did an interview with the incredible guys from the Marvelous Cinema podcast, Matthew and Henry.
Which goes up tomorrow.
Shout out to the Marvelous Cinema podcast.
Well, I guess not.
Nice.
Not.
Yeah, from
For
the time
you and
this
me,
video
it goes
comes
up
out.
tomorrow.
Right.
For you guys, it goes up 1 week ago.
Perfect. We just start, and there you go, Tenet. 1 week ago, you just flip upside down and start floating away. Oh my god. We just did a
You know what's even crazier?
Shout out to.
We can talk to the me from the future through this.
Isn't that weird? Yeah, isn't that weird? Well, you're going to be editing this in the future. Like, oh man, how things will have changed.
Hey,
in the
Chris.
Next, 5 days.
Nice pants. I don't know.
Jesus. Oh my God. I'm scared to even bring this up because I fear this will not be the last time we talk about this. Shout out to the Marvelous Cinema podcast, guys. We just had an interview with them where we talked about what was coming in 2021.
Yeah.
And one of the big
I thought you were going to bring this up.
That was, yeah, one of the tones was, are we actually going to get these movies in 2021 that we're supposed to, or is 2022 going to be the year? Guys, unfortunately, we hate to say it, but things are already starting to get pushed back.
Uncharted.
If you follow us on Instagram, Chris posted some stuff on our story, and I kind of followed up. Unfortunately, it's not just Uncharted. So A Quiet Place 2 has now been pushed back to release in September. So we're getting very close already to that. September of this year. But still, man, I mean, we're already starting to put things in the final quarter of 2021 already. It's not even done with January when we're recording this video. That's scary, man. Uncharted has been pushed back to September, and A Quiet Place 2 has been pushed back, and so has Uncharted, I should say. What do you think, man? I mean, we're already starting to see a little bit of a pushback. What is this going to keep going, or are we actually going to get these movies this year?
I think, and I hope that by the time summer comes around and cases start to drop, I think there's going to be a big push to finish a lot of the movies that didn't get finished, because I think we'll have some level of control of this, at least in the US, hopefully.
Right.
I don't know. I think that with the time, that just the sheer amount of time it takes to make a film, just the months and months of work that has to go into it, I'm not surprised, honestly.
Right.
I'm really not surprised. I think that maybe some of the films that say they're coming out later this year, I think we'll get some of those. But a movie like Uncharted that already says they're getting pushed to 2022, that's probably not going to happen until 2022.
Yeah, and you're probably right. I don't know. It's just it's like I picture the vaccine just being Spider-Man holding back the train, and the train is like these studios like going further and further down the timeline of when they're going to release these movies, and it's like you just really hope that at some point the vaccine, and between enough people getting it and the vaccine, this bell curve is going to finally hit its peak and start going back down the other way.
Wait, which Spider-Man though? Because all of the Spider-Mans have done that scene where they're holding something together with the web. So which one?
Let's go Tobey Maguire.
Okay.
Let's go Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. So pretty good odds that he's gonna get it done. He's going to get it done. So we'll see. But I don't know, guys. Just something to think about. We hate to give you the bad news, but we want to keep you updated on the channel. So unfortunately, Uncharted and A Quiet Place 2 are already being pushed back into the last quarter of 2021. May not be the last pushbacks that we see, and we'll likely see some more delays here from other studios. As long as we're getting some of these movies at some point in 2021, I think we're still on track.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, with how much damage was done, I really feel like the calendar year of 2021 is going to be very much a rebuilding year.
Yep.
People are going to be getting their jobs back.
Yeah.
Theaters are going to be figuring out how to open again and get life back to normal. So we'll see. Hopefully this is the last time we talk about this for a current event, but you never know. We'll keep you posted with whatever we know. That's it, Chris. You got anything else for Tenet or our current event for today before we let the people go?
I already told you. It.
Yes.
It's just you haven't heard it yet.
A week in advance. And there you go. If that's getting old, then we can pretty much imagine how we felt during Tenet. That's it, guys. Critic and the Common Man. Jump over to our Instagram, Critic and the Common Man on Instagram. Let us know what you think. These videos will be coming back out. We're going strong here.
It's a podcast that you can actually play in reverse.
Yes.
But you had to have already played it.
You have to play one in forward and then one in reverse.
Yeah.
Right, and if you've already played it, then you can reverse it and it'll make sense.
Right.
Exactly, because the podcast has already been played.
Right.
You're just hearing
the other way. It's just the entropy has been reversed.
Right.
It'll actually freeze your
gas.
car. So if it's hot outside,
Exactly.
you're welcome.
Don't forget your oxygen mask. That's it, guys. Critic and the Common Man, Tenet, we are out of here.